Hello everyone, and welcome back to your favorite horror storytelling channel. I know many of you use these videos to fall asleep, so before you drift off, I'd love it if you could leave a comment letting me know where you're listening from around the world. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe if you're enjoying the video.
At 2:17 a.m., the city looks empty, but it isn't. It's holding its breath. Streetlights flicker like tired eyes struggling to stay open. The wind pushes old flyers down cracked sidewalks, dragging them like whispers. Somewhere far away, a train horn echoes, stretched and distorted, as if the sound itself is lost. My name is Evan Cole, and I work the night shift, not because I like it, because I needed the money. That's how it always starts. The listing was simple. Night dispatcher needed, immediate hire, no experience required, $42 an hour. That alone should have scared me. Nobody pays that much for silence. The building sat on the edge of downtown, pressed between condemned warehouses and a closed subway entrance. No logo, no sign. Just a steel door with a keypad and a security camera that didn't blink. When I arrived for my interview, the man who met me never gave his full name. "Call me Mr. Harlan," he said. His smile never reached his eyes. Mr. Harlan slid a laminated sheet across the desk. Night dispatch rules. Never leave the building between 2 and 4 a.m. Do not respond to calls that don't appear on the system. If a call mentions static breathing, disconnect immediately. Never acknowledge someone who knows your name before you say it. If you hear knocking, do not answer. I laughed. That was my second mistake. The room I worked in had no windows, just screens, 12 of them, each displaying different parts of the city. Street cameras, alley feeds, subway tunnels, all time-stamped, all silent. A red phone sat on the desk, no buttons, no labels, just a receiver. At exactly 2 a.m., it rang for the first time. I picked up. "Dispatch," I said. Static crackled, then breathing, slow, wet, too close. I remembered rule number 3 and hung up immediately. The phone rang again. This time, the voice spoke. "Evan, you forgot to lock the back door." My blood turned cold. I hadn't said my name. My hands shook as I checked the monitors. Camera 7, the back hallway. Someone stood there, tall, too still. Their face blurred, not by the camera, but like it didn't want to be seen. The timestamp flickered. 2:17 a.m. The figure tilted its head and smiled. Calls started flooding in, not emergency calls, observations. There's someone standing outside my apartment, but they don't cast a shadow. The subway train arrived with no driver. I can hear my own voice calling my phone. Each call ended the same way. Static, breathing, silence. He appeared behind me without sound. "You're doing fine," he said. I spun around. How do I stop this? He looked at the monitors. "You don't." He leaned closer. "You just survive until 4. At 2:43 a.m., I heard it. Knock, knock, knock. Slow, deliberate, from the hallway door. Then a voice, my voice. "Evan, open the door." Rule number 5 echoed in my head. I didn't move. The knocking continued. At 3:49 a.m., the phone rang one last time. I answered. The line was clear, too clear. "You're part of the system now, Evan." The screens went black. The lights shut off. Silence swallowed the room. Then, 4 a.m. The lights snapped back on. Everything was normal. Too normal. Mr. Harlan handed me my paycheck. As I turned to leave, I noticed something new on the rules sheet, a line that wasn't there before. If you quit, the city doesn't let you go. Outside, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. One message. See you tomorrow at 2:17.
I didn't sleep. Not real sleep. I lay on my couch with my jacket still on, staring at the ceiling while my phone lit up every few minutes like it was breathing. The message stayed there, unchanged. See you tomorrow at 2:17. I deleted it. It came back. I powered the phone off. It powered itself on. At 2:16 a.m., the screen brightened again, even though it was already morning outside, even though I'd left the building hours ago and told myself it was over. I was lying to myself, because the city felt different. Not in the dramatic way you see in movies, not sirens and screaming and clouds parting, in the small ways, like the way my kitchen clock was now 1 minute fast, no matter how many times I fixed it. Like the way every elevator in my building paused for a beat on the 17th floor, even though there wasn't a 17th floor. And like the way the air itself seemed to listen when I said my own name. Evan. I swallowed. Not tonight, I told my apartment, like it could argue. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. One line. You already said yes. I took the paycheck to my kitchen table like it was evidence. The amount was right. The paper was wrong. It wasn't from a bank. It wasn't from a company. It was printed on thick gray stock with no watermark, no logo, no routing number. Just my name typed perfectly. Evan Cole. Under it, in the memo line, a phrase that made my throat tighten. For services rendered, citywide compliance. Like I'd signed up to obey something. I ran my thumb across the ink. It felt raised, like Braille. I didn't know how to read it, but my skin did. My stomach turned when I realized my thumb had started tracing a path across the paper, moving on its own, following invisible lines. A map, a shape, a loop that turned into an intersection, and then a dot right in the center, a dot labeled with a single time, 2:17. I yanked my hand away. The paper stayed warm. I did what anyone does when reality starts bending. I searched. Night dispatcher, no windows, building keypad, red phone, city compliance. Nothing. I searched the address Mr. Harlan had given me. The map app didn't recognize it. I typed it into a property database. It returned a blank page like the address had never existed. I searched 2:17 a.m. urban legend. That one gave me plenty, mostly nonsense, until I found an old forum thread buried under years of dust. Something barely indexed, half broken, the kind of page that looks like it survived the early internet on pure spite. Title: The 2:17 Shift. Do not take the job. The first post was dated 10 years ago. The last post was dated 3 days ago. And the username on the last post made my lungs lock. M.R. Harlan. The message was short. Welcome, Evan. I dropped my phone like it burned. It hit the floor and kept vibrating. I picked it back up. I shouldn't have. Curiosity is a soft word for what that was. It was compulsion, like the city had hooked a finger under my ribs and pulled. People in the thread told different stories, different cities, different years, but the details matched in a way that made me nauseous. No windows, red phone, rule sheet, 2 to 4, 2:17. One user wrote, "You think you're dispatching help. You're not. You're routing the city's hunger." Another wrote, "The calls aren't people. They're places. The city speaking through mouths." And one comment, buried deep, repeated by different accounts like a prayer: "Don't look for the map under the city. If it finds you first, you become an intersection." I stared at that line too long.
because I understood it without understanding it. Intersections are where things cross, where things meet, where things change direction. My phone buzzed again. A calendar alert I never set. Tonight, 2:17, return. At 9:30 p.m., I drove back. Not because I wanted to, because my hands kept turning the wheel.
Downtown looked normal on the surface. Bars letting out, taxis drifting, neon signage buzzing like tired insects. But every time the clock in my car ticked closer to midnight, the streets emptied too fast, like something was clearing space. The building waited. Steel door, keypad, camera, no sign. My stomach clenched when the keypad lit up before I touched it. Digits appeared one by one. 2, 1, 7. Then the lock clicked open. I stepped inside and smelled cold air and old electricity. The lobby lights flickered into a pattern I didn't notice last night. 2 flashes, 1 long pause, 7 flashes. I swallowed hard and walked to the dispatch room. Mr. Harlan was already there, sitting in the chair like he'd never moved since my last shift. He didn't stand. He just slid an envelope across the desk. Another paycheck. "Before you say anything," he murmured. "No, you can't." "I can't quit?" My voice cracked. Mr. Harlan's eyes moved to the monitors. "You can." He smiled a little wider. "You just won't like what quits back." The laminated rule sheet sat where it had been, but the list had changed. I hadn't imagined that. New ink, freshly printed. Night dispatch rules, updated. Never leave between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. Do not respond to calls that don't appear on the system. If a call mentions static breathing, disconnect immediately. Never acknowledge someone who knows your name before you say it. If you hear knocking, do not answer. If the monitors show a street you recognize, look away for 10 seconds. If you see yourself on camera, do not wave. I felt my mouth go dry. Why are there new rules? Mr. Harlan shrugged. Because you survived. My skin prickled. That's supposed to be good. It is, he said softly, for the city. I sat at the desk. My hands hovered over the keyboard. The monitors didn't show random city feeds tonight. They showed a grid, streets labeled with names that made my stomach drop. My streets, the corner store I go to, the parking lot behind my apartment, the bridge I drive over, and my building's lobby camera, live, showing an empty hallway where the elevator waited with its doors open like a mouth. I looked away, counted 10 seconds. When I looked back, the camera had zoomed in on the elevator panel. Someone had pressed a button. There was no one there. The number lit up anyway. 17. My phone buzzed in my pocket, even though I'd left it on silent. I didn't take it out. I didn't want to see what it said. Mr. Harlan leaned in from behind me. "The city's learning your habits," he whispered, like it was a fun fact. My throat tightened. "I'm not doing this." He nodded thoughtfully. "You're already doing it." And then, the red phone rang. The call ID appeared on the screen. Call 017. My chest tightened. Why 17? Mr. Harlan didn't answer. I picked up. "Dispatch." No static, no breathing, just silence for 2 full seconds. Then, a voice, not distorted, not monstrous, normal, a woman whispering, "Hi, Evan." I froze. Rule number 4 screamed in my head. She said my name first. I should hang up, but my hand didn't move. The woman sounded tired, like she'd been awake too long. "Evan," she said again, "I need you to listen. You have about..." A faint sound in the background cut her off, a soft tapping, like fingernails on glass. Her voice tightened. "It found me.
My throat went tight. "Who are you?" She laughed once weakly. "I used to sit in your chair." My stomach flipped. "I quit," she whispered, "and it followed me home." The tapping got louder. Her breathing sharpened, not frantic, but controlled panic. "You can't let it learn you. Don't let it map you." "Map me?" I whispered. She spoke fast now, fighting the sound in her room. "At 2:17, it redraws. Streets, people, doors, everything becomes—" The line crackled. A new sound joined the call, a slow inhale. Not hers, not human.
Static breathing. Rule number 3. My hand slammed the receiver down. The moment it hit, the monitors all flashed the same message, misrouted. Then beneath it, correcting. Knock, knock, knock. This time, it wasn't the hallway door. It was inside the room, on the wall behind the monitors, a slow, patient rhythm. Mr. Harlan didn't react, like he couldn't hear it, or like he considered it normal. I stared at the wall. The knocking moved, not left to right, not up and down. It moved like something walking, knocking from inside the walls, circling the room. My skin crawled. I forced my eyes to the camera feeds. One screen showed the building's exterior entrance. A figure stood outside, tall, still, face blurred. But now it was closer to the lens, close enough that the distortion looked like it was struggling to keep up. It lifted a hand and tapped the glass of the camera housing, perfectly matching the knocking I heard. Knock, knock, knock. My mouth went dry. Mr. Harlan finally spoke. "Don't answer it." I wasn't going to. He nodded as if satisfied. "Good," he said. "It likes polite employees." The monitors shifted without warning. The street feeds dissolved into something else. Lines, curves, arteries, like a subway map, but wrong, too organic, too alive, a network of roots under the city, glowing faintly, pulsing like a heartbeat. And there in the center was a bright node that made my teeth ache to look at. 2:17. The lines flowed toward it, feeding it. My hands lifted on their own, fingers hovering over the keyboard. I tried to stop them. I couldn't. On the screen, a cursor blinked at the center node, and text appeared as if typed by an invisible hand. Assignment: Evan Cole. Role: intersection. Effective: 2:17 a.m. I jerked back hard enough my chair skidded. Mr. Harlan sighed like I'd spilled coffee. "Ah," he said, "it's early." "What does that mean?" I snapped. He leaned down until his mouth was near my ear.
"It means you're interesting." I swallowed. "That's not good." Mr. Harlan smiled. "It's never good." One monitor returned to a live feed, a street corner, a familiar intersection. My intersection, right outside my apartment building. I looked away instantly. 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3. At 7 seconds, I heard something. Not knocking, not breathing. A distant sound, like a crowd murmuring underwater. At 10 seconds, I looked back. The camera had zoomed closer. Someone was standing at the corner. A woman in a dark hoodie,
She looked straight into the camera, straight at me. Her face wasn't blurred. Her eyes were wide and terrified. She mouthed something. I couldn't hear it, but I read her lips. "Don't." My breath caught. Then, behind her, the streetlight flickered, and a shadow moved the wrong way. Not cast by her, not cast by anything visible. It slid toward her like spilled ink. The woman turned and ran out of frame. The shadow followed. The feed glitched. The screen showed the intersection again. Empty. Except for one thing. A piece of paper on the ground fluttering. The camera zoomed on its own. On the paper was a hand-drawn symbol, a loop, an intersection, and in the center, 217. Time moved strangely after that. Minutes stretched, then collapsed. At 2:12, the air in the room turned colder. At 2:13, every monitor dimmed as if something leaned over the city and blocked the light. At 2:14, the red phone began ringing, once every 30 seconds. I didn't pick up. Mr. Harlan watched the clock like he was waiting for a microwave to beep. At 2:15, I heard a sound in the ceiling tiles, a shifting, a slow drag, like something above us crawling. At 2:16, the room fell silent. Even the building's hum stopped. Mr. Harlan's smile faded. For the first time, he looked cautious.
That scared me more than anything else. He whispered, "When it happens, don't try to understand." "What happens?" I breathed. He didn't answer. The digital clock on the wall blinked. 2:16, 2:16, 2:16. Then it changed. 2:17. And every monitor showed the same thing. A doorway. Not ours, not the building's. A door standing upright in the middle of an empty street, under a streetlight that flickered like a dying star. The door slowly opened inward, into darkness. A voice came through the speakers, not the phone, the monitors, the building itself. It spoke like the city had found a mouth. Intersection active. I couldn't move. Mr. Harlan stepped back, almost respectfully, as if someone important had entered the room. The door on the monitor wasn't just an image. I felt it, like a pressure in my chest pulling, a need to stand up and walk toward it, even though it wasn't physically here. Mr. Harlan's voice sounded far away. "Do you know why it picked you?" I couldn't answer. He continued anyway. "Some people are roads," he whispered. "Some are dead ends." He looked at me with something close to pity. "And some people are where things cross." The red phone rang once. Just once. I answered without realizing I'd moved. My voice came out as a whisper. "Dispatch." This time, the voice on the other end was mine, but calmer, older, like me after years of giving up. "Hi, Evan," my voice said. "It gets easier when you stop fighting." My skin went cold. "I'm not you," I whispered. The voice chuckled softly. "You will be." Behind the voice, faintly, came the sound of traffic, but distorted, as if cars were passing through water. The voice said, "Tell it where to send them." "Send who?" The line hummed. My voice replied, "Whoever the city can't digest."
a pause, then, "Start with the woman at your intersection." My breath hitched. "No!" The word came out sharp. Instantly, the monitors flickered violently. The door in the street slammed shut. The room shook, not like an earthquake, but like the building had clenched. Mr. Harlan hissed, "Evan!" The voice on the phone dropped its calm. It became flat, unforgiving.
Non-compliance logged. The call ended, and the city got quiet again. Too quiet. The clock crawled. 2:31 felt like an hour. 3:10 felt like 5 minutes. Then suddenly, the digital clock blinked. 3:59. The lights steadied. The monitors returned to normal feeds. The building's hum resumed like nothing happened. Mr. Harlan exhaled. "You made it." My throat felt raw. "Did I?" He didn't answer. The clock changed. 4 a.m. Relief hit me so hard I almost laughed. Then I saw the monitors. Every camera feed, every street, every alley, every subway entrance showed the same thing. People walking to work, early commuters, normal morning life. But each person was doing one small thing wrong, walking half a step out of sync, turning their heads at the exact same time, pausing at intersections and looking upward as if listening for instructions. Mr. Harlan whispered, "You see it now." "What?" He pointed at the screen, at a man crossing a street. At the moment he stepped onto the crosswalk, the image stuttered. For a single frame, the man was replaced by something else, a darker outline, too tall. Then it was gone. My blood turned to ice. Mr. Harlan spoke quietly. "It's not just calling anymore." He smiled again, but it didn't look like a smile. "It's commuting." I stumbled out of the building into early morning light that felt fake. The sky was the right color. The air smelled normal, but the street was listening. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. A photo attachment. I opened it. It was taken from above, like from the street camera or a rooftop. It showed me standing outside the building, and behind me, just faint enough to doubt, was a shape on the sidewalk. A tall blur with the suggestion of a grin. Under the photo, one line, "Intersection training complete." Then another message arrived immediately after. "Next shift, tonight, 2:17 a.m. Bring a friend." I stared at the words until my eyes watered, because I understood what the city wanted. If it couldn't map me alone, it would map me through someone else. And somewhere, in a place I couldn't see yet, a door was waiting to open.
The city didn't specify which friend. That felt important. I sat in my car for nearly an hour after leaving the building, hands on the steering wheel, engine off, watching people pass like nothing had happened, because nothing had happened. Not to them, yet. The message replayed in my head. Bring a friend. Not invite, not recommend. Bring. Like luggage, like evidence, like something already chosen. I told myself I wouldn't do it. I said it out loud. I'm not doing that. The city didn't respond. It never does. It just waits. The answer came before the question finished forming. My phone buzzed at 11:04 a.m. A text from Lena, my roommate. "Hey, weird question. Have you ever worked night dispatch? I got a call asking about you." My stomach dropped. I hadn't told Lena anything. She worked days, marketing, normal hours, normal life. The city didn't want a stranger. It wanted leverage.
I typed back slowly. "Who called you?" 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. "No idea. Private number. They just said you'd explain it tonight." Tonight. My throat went dry. The city didn't ask. It routed. I showed up early. That was a mistake. The building was already awake. Lights on, monitors humming. Mr. Harlan stood by the desk, holding 2 visitor badges. He slid one toward me. The name printed on it made my chest tighten. Lena Morris. Guest. "You contacted her," I said. Mr. Harlan raised an eyebrow. "No," he replied calmly. "The city did." "You said bring a friend like it was optional." "It is," he said. "You can choose not to." Hope flared for half a second. "What happens if I don't?" Mr. Harlan gestured toward the monitors. One screen showed Lena's office building, live. She was at her desk, typing. Above her head, barely visible in the fluorescent glare, a dark shape pressed against the ceiling like a stain. It pulsed, waiting. Mr. Harlan spoke gently. "It'll still need an intersection." When Lena arrived at 1:52 a.m., she was annoyed, not scared. That made it worse. "You said this was urgent," she said, crossing her arms. "What kind of job is this?" I didn't answer fast enough. She looked around the room. "No windows?" she muttered. "That's creepy." And Mr. Harlan smiled. "Welcome." Lena frowned. "Who's he?" I opened my mouth, and nothing came out. She stepped closer to the desk. "What is this place?" The red phone rang. Lena jumped. "What the hell was that?" I grabbed her wrist without thinking. Her skin was cold, too cold. Mr. Harlan leaned in. "There's an unwritten rule," he said softly. Lena looked between us. "What rule?" He looked at me. "You don't tell them." The screen lit up. "Call 023. Lena squinted. "You're a dispatcher?" "Yes," I said quickly. "Sort of." The call connected before I touched the phone. The voice came through the speakers. Cheerful. Too cheerful. "Hello, Lena." She froze. "I didn't say." "You don't have to," the voice replied pleasantly. "We already mapped you." Lena looked at me. "What is this?" Her reflection appeared on the monitors. Not delayed, not mirrored, independent. The reflection smiled. Lena didn't. Mr. Harlan stepped back. "Rule 6, he whispered to me. "If they see themselves too early, they panic." "I didn't tell her the rules," I snapped. He nodded. "Exactly." At 2:14 a.m., the temperature dropped. Lena rubbed her arms. "Why is it cold?" The monitors changed. The door appeared again, standing under the flickering light. Closer this time. Lena leaned forward. "Is that real?" "No," I said too quickly. She took a step toward the screen. The image reacted. The door handle turned. Slowly. Click. Mr. Harlan finally intervened.
"Don't approach the threshold," he said calmly. Lena snapped. "What threshold?" The door opened. Darkness spilled out. Not visually, but emotionally, like a pressure wave. Lena gasped. She grabbed her head. "I feel dizzy." The city's voice filled the room. "Candidate identified. Friend accepted." I yelled, "No!" The monitors flickered violently. The door widened. Something moved inside. Lena collapsed to her knees. I rushed to her side. Her eyes were open, focused, too focused. She whispered, "I see it." "See what?" I asked. She smiled faintly. "The roots." My heart pounded. She lifted her hand and traced shapes in the air, curves, turns, crossings. "The city doesn't eat people," she murmured. "It roots them." Mr. Harlan nodded approvingly. "She's adapting fast." I glared at him. "What does it do to them?" He answered honestly, "It keeps what's useful." Lena looked up at me. Her eyes reflected light that wasn't in the room. "Evan," she said gently, "you're not the intersection."
My stomach dropped. She pointed at herself. I am. The red phone rang again. This time, Lena reached for it. I grabbed her wrist. No! She looked at me with pity. It's okay, she said softly. I understand now. She pried my fingers away, answered the phone. Dispatch, she said, her voice layered, hers and something else beneath it. The city responded immediately. Intersection confirmed. The monitors showed Lena's office, her desk, empty. Then they showed her apartment, her room, empty. Every place she'd been began disappearing from the feeds, replaced by blank static. I shouted, "Stop it!" Mr. Harlan shook his head. Once mapped, always routed. The door on the screen swung fully open. Lena stood. She looked normal, too normal. She hugged me. I'm sorry, she whispered. Then she walked forward and stepped into the screen. She didn't vanish. She didn't scream. She simply crossed. The door closed. The monitors went black. Silence. Heavy. Permanent. The building hummed again. The lights stabilized. The clock blinked. 3:48 a.m. Mr. Harlan straightened his jacket. Textbook, he said. I stared at the empty screen. She's gone. He nodded, but useful. I lunged at him. He didn't move, didn't flinch. You said friend. You said bring a friend. Mr. Harlan met my eyes. I never said you'd get them back. The rule sheet updated itself, ink bleeding through plastic. A new line formed. 8 intersections may recruit secondary nodes. I backed away. What does that mean? Mr. Harlan smiled. It means she'll help us. A monitor turned on. One feed, a street corner I didn't recognize. Lena stood there, not fully solid, like a reflection in glass. People passed through her without noticing. She looked at the camera, at me. Her mouth moved. No sound came out, but I understood. Run. The clock changed. 4 o'clock. The shift ended, but I knew the truth now. The city didn't just want intersections. It wanted a network, and Lena was the first node. Outside, my phone buzzed. Unknown number, video attachment. I played it. Footage from above the city, lines glowing, routes forming, intersections lighting up, more than one, more than 10, more than the city should need. Text appeared over the video. Expansion phase initiated. Then one final message. Episode 4. You can't outrun a map. I shut off my phone because somewhere behind me I heard footsteps. Not following, routing.
I didn't go home. Home was already compromised. Lena's apartment feed had gone dark, which meant one of two things. Either she was gone, or she was everywhere. I drove. No destination, just movement, because movement still felt like choice. The city blurred past my windows. Gas stations, closed diners, silent bus stops. But every turn felt guided, like the road leaned. At 1:41 a.m., my GPS recalculated. At 1:52, it recalculated again. At 2:01, the screen went black. Then one word appeared. Straight. I slammed the brakes. The word didn't disappear. It pulsed. Patient. I whispered, no. The car radio turned on by itself. Static. Then Lena's voice, faint, distorted, layered. Evan, mirrors lie, windows don't. The radio shut off. The GPS cleared. I was shaking, but I understood. The city made its first mistake at 2:06 a.m. I saw it on a public street. A man crossing too early. The walk sign was red.
He stepped forward anyway. Mid-step, he froze. Not stumbled, not slowed, stopped. Cars swerved around him. People shouted. He didn't react. Then, for half a second, he flickered, like bad video compression, and something else occupied his shape. Too tall, wrong angles. The man screamed once, then kept walking. Perfectly normal. Too normal. People stared. Phones came out. Someone said, "Did you see that?" The city doesn't like witnesses. That was mistake number one. I remembered Lena's warning. Mirrors lie. Windows don't. I pulled into an abandoned strip mall. Smashed glass storefronts. Empty parking lot. I approached a window slowly. Looked inside. The reflection lagged. That was new. My reflection raised its hand. I didn't. It smiled. I stepped back. The reflection pressed closer to the glass. Its mouth moved, but the sound came from behind me. Evan. I turned. Nothing. I looked back at the window. The reflection was gone. The store interior was no longer empty. It was full of lines, glowing routes, intersecting paths. A map projected onto reality, and standing at the center, Lena. She looked clearer than before, more solid. "Run," she mouthed again, but this time she added something new. She pointed upward. At 2:11 a.m., every streetlight flickered at once. Not a power surge, a signal. I felt it, pressure in my skull, like a tension, like something massive had noticed me moving off route. My phone rang. No caller ID. I answered without thinking. Mr. Harlan's voice. "You're improvising," he said calmly. "I'm leaving." A pause. Then mild disappointment. "You can't." "I already am." He sighed. "Evan, maps don't trap you. They describe where you already go." "Then why am I scared?" "Because you're near the edge." My stomach dropped. "The edge of what?" He smiled through the phone. "The printable area." I didn't hang up. I should have. "What are you?" I asked. Mr. Harlan didn't answer immediately. When he did, his voice sounded thinner. "I'm a legend," he said. "A placeholder." "For what?" "For cities that outgrow their original planners." I swallowed. "You're not human." A soft chuckle.
I was, once, long before zoning laws. The call crackled. For a moment, I heard traffic behind him, but layered, overlapping, like multiple decades at once. "I was the first intersection," he said quietly. "The city kept me because I adapted." Cold realization settled in. "You recruit people. I route them. You sacrifice them. I optimize," he corrected. The call ended. My phone screen shattered, not physically, but digitally, fracturing into route lines before going dark. At 2:14 a.m., the city slipped again. This time, it couldn't hide it. Every digital billboard downtown changed simultaneously. Traffic ads vanished. Movie posters dissolved. Each screen displayed the same thing. A simplified city map, glowing intersections, one blinking rapidly. People stopped, pointed. Phones rose. Someone laughed nervously. "What's this? Viral marketing?" The blinking intersection zoomed. Streets formed. A label appeared. "You are here," right where I stood. The crowd fell silent. The city had broken Rule 0. Never let them see the map. Every window around me became transparent. Not clear, honest. I saw routes beneath the sidewalks, pulsing lines under skin. People walking on paths they didn't choose. And Lena,
appearing in reflections, glass, screens. She spoke without sound, but meaning flooded my head. The city is overloading. Too many intersections. It can't hold them all. I whispered, "What happens?" Her expression hardened. "It collapses into one." My heart pounded. "One what?" She looked straight at me. "One place, one time, 2:17. The red phone rang. Not in the building, in my pocket. I'd pulled it out. Impossible. Same phone, same weight, same hum. It rang once, then stopped. A message appeared. "You can end this." Under it, "Become the final intersection." I laughed. It came out broken. "And if I don't?" The reply came instantly. "Everyone becomes one." I saw it then. Crowds slowing, movements synchronizing, people pausing at corners, waiting. The city preparing to compress, to simplify, to survive. Lena appeared beside me, faint, flickering. She shook her head. I asked, "Is there another way?" She hesitated, then nodded, but she looked afraid. Her message burned into my thoughts. Map the city backward. I didn't know what that meant until I did. Intersections weren't just crossings, they were choices. I raised the phone, spoke clearly. "Dispatch." The city listened. For the first time, I said, "I'm rerouting." The ground vibrated. The billboards flickered wildly. Routes reversed. Lines pulled away from centers instead of feeding them. People gasped. Some collapsed, not hurt, just overwhelmed. The city screamed, not audibly, but structurally. Streetlights shattered, windows cracked. Mr. Harlan's voice echoed everywhere. "Evan, you'll tear it apart." "Good," I shouted. The clock hit 2:17. Everything stopped. No sound, no movement, no city, just space. Then, a single intersection remained, floating, waiting. The red phone vibrated once. Final message, "Choose." I looked at Lena. She smiled sadly. This time she spoke aloud. "I already crossed. You don't have to." I swallowed. "What happens to the city?" She answered honestly. "It forgets how to trap." I made my choice. I dropped the phone. The intersection shattered like glass. I woke up on a sidewalk at dawn. Sirens, people shouting, news vans. The city, normal, too normal. My phone buzzed. One final notification. Unknown number. Legacy system disabled. Then another, from Lena's contact. "Hey, weird dream? Want coffee?" I stared at the message, because across the street, at the corner, a street light flickered. Twice, once, 7 times, and for just a moment, the city held its breath.
Cities don't wake up. They reset. That's what it felt like when I opened my eyes. Sirens faded into distance. News vans packed up. People returned to routines like they'd rehearsed them. No one looked confused anymore. No one asked questions. That scared me more than panic ever could. My phone showed no missed calls, no unknown numbers, no reminders, just normal notifications. Weather, email, a calendar invite from Lena, coffee, 9:30 a.m. I stared at it for a long time, because if she remembered nothing, then the city had succeeded. And if she remembered something, then the system wasn't gone, just quiet. Lena was already there,
Same cafe, same booth, same order. She smiled when she saw me, but the smile hesitated just a fraction too long. "You okay?" she asked. I sat across from her. "Did you have a weird dream?" She stirred her coffee slowly. "Yeah," she said, "actually." My chest tightened. She continued, casual but cautious. "I kept standing at intersections, and everyone was waiting for me to decide where to go." I said nothing. She glanced up sharply. "You too?" The silence answered for me. Her hand shook. "Evan, I don't remember how, but I remember choosing." I whispered, "Me too." Her eyes darted to the window. Outside, pedestrians paused at the crosswalk, waiting. The light hadn't changed yet. The building was gone. Not demolished, not repurposed, just absent. Where the steel door used to be was a smooth concrete wall, like it had never existed. No keypad, no camera, no seams. I pressed my palm against it, cold, solid. Lena stood beside me. "So what now?" she asked. I didn't answer immediately, because across the street, a man stood perfectly still, waiting to cross. The light turned green. He didn't move. Then his head tilted slightly to the side, listening. The city didn't collapse. That was the lie I told myself. It adapted. Traffic patterns changed. People complained about timing. Apps updated routes more aggressively. Smart city improvements, the news called it. But sometimes, just sometimes, streetlights flickered in sequences. 2 flashes, 1 pause, 7 flashes. Lena noticed too. "So it's still there," she said quietly. "Not centralized," I replied. "Not conscious like before." She frowned. "Then what?" I thought of Mr. Harlan, of placeholders, of legends. "Instinct," I said. I found him in a place without mirrors, a city archive, old maps, zoning plans, transit blueprints. I wasn't looking for him.
But he was waiting anyway. Not in flesh, in handwriting. A margin note on a century-old map. Intersections requires stewards. Below it, another line, newer. System failure creates vacancies. My name wasn't written. That was worse. She couldn't stop seeing them. Timing, crowd movement, people avoiding certain streets without knowing why. She started taking notes. I told her not to. She ignored me. "You broke the system," she said. "You didn't erase the need." I snapped. "Stop mapping." She met my eyes. "Someone always will." That night she dreamed of doors again. This time, they didn't open. They waited. It happened at 2:17 a.m. Of course it did. A traffic cam live stream froze, then replayed, then froze again. Online comments filled with jokes. "Glitch in the Matrix, LOL." I didn't laugh, because in the frozen frame, a woman stood mid-crosswalk. Her shadow pointed the wrong way, and for just one frame, she looked straight into the camera, straight at me. The red phone returned, not physically, conceptually, in my dreams, ringing without sound. I ignored it until the dreams stopped being dreams. I found myself standing at corners too long, hesitating before turns. People started asking me for directions. Strangers, too often. "Which way should I go? Is this faster? Do you know where this leads?" I always answered wrong, deliberately, but the city adjusted anyway. Lena said it first. "You didn't end it," she said gently. "You decentralized it." I nodded. That was the only way. She smiled sadly. "Maps don't die, they just lose legends."
I looked at the city skyline. So what am I now? She didn't answer immediately. Then, a warning. Cities change. New buildings, new roads, same intersections. I stopped counting the flickers, stopped tracking patterns, stopped answering questions. I moved often, stayed anonymous, but sometimes I see someone standing too still, waiting too long, listening, and I know the city is teaching them. Tonight, it's raining, the kind of rain that blurs lights into lines. I stand at a corner. No phone, no map, just instinct. A stranger steps beside me. They glance over. Which way do you think I should go? I look at the streetlight. It flickers. Once, twice, 7 times. I answer honestly. It depends, I say, on whether you want to arrive or disappear. The light changes. They hesitate, and the city holds its breath.